Ladies, gentlemen, let me pull back the curtain on a truth that's been hiding in plain sight. We talk so much about how women love, how they nurture, how they commit, how they dream of forever. But tonight, I want to talk about him, the man sitting next to you, the man raising your children, the man who walked away, not because he didn't love you, but because you never noticed when he did. Oh yes, men fall in love differently, and the world has done a poor job explaining it. You think it's the flowers, the muscles, the money, but no, men fall in love when they're seen, when they're heard, when they're safe. And the saddest part, most women miss the moment it happens. Let's go deeper because somebody's breakthrough is about to be born through truth tonight. The men fall in love through silent admiration, not through loud declarations, not through flashy displays, but through the quiet moments that speak volumes. You see, a man can sit in the same room with a woman and say nothing, yet his heart is having a full-blown conversation. He's watching, he's listening, he's studying, not her beauty alone, but her energy, her character, how she carries herself when nobody's trying to impress her. What many women don't realize is that men are observers. They may not always express themselves with words, but they feel deeply through what they see and sense. A man may fall in love with the way she tucks her hair behind her ear when she's nervous, the way she lights up when she talks about what she loves, the way she treats people who can't offer her anything. It's in those quiet, unnoticed moments that his admiration begins to take root. You won't always hear it in his voice, because for many men, love is a silent journey before it's a spoken one. He won't come right out and say, I admire how you prayed for your family when no one was looking, but he saw it and it planted something, a seed, a sense of awe. And over time, that seed begins to grow into love. This kind of love doesn't explode like fireworks. It simmers. It builds. It's formed in moments when she's not even trying, when she's just being herself. Men fall in love with who a woman is when she's not performing, when there's no filter, no pretending, no pressure, just her flaws, her laughter, her purpose, her peace. And the truth is, men often don't even know when it's happening. They just know they keep thinking about her. They feel better in her presence. They want to protect her joy, not just pursue her beauty. It becomes deeper than attraction. It becomes respect. And once a man respects you, once he admires the core of who you are, that's when he starts to fall. What's most heartbreaking is how often this silent admiration goes unnoticed. While the woman is looking for grand gestures and poetic promises, she doesn't realize he's already fallen, not with his words, but with his attention, his time, his quiet consistency. That's his way of saying, I see you, I value you, I admire you. Because for a man, true love doesn't begin with infatuation. It begins with admiration. And when that admiration is allowed to grow, in the quiet and the slow, in the real, love isn't far behind. When a man truly falls in love, it's not always because of how beautiful a woman is or how much she says she loves him. It's often because of how she makes him feel, especially when she makes him feel respected. Respect for a man is not just a luxury. It is a deep emotional need. It's oxygen to his identity. While many women seek love through connection, communication, and emotional closeness, a man's heart often opens where he is honored, believed in, and trusted. Words can be sweet, compliments can be comforting, but if a man feels consistently undermined, talked down to, or dismissed, even the kindest words lose their power. He doesn't just listen to what's being said. He watches how it's being said. He pays attention to tone, timing, and intention. You can tell a man you love him every day, but if he feels like you don't trust his judgment, mock his dreams, or constantly correct him in public, those words fall flat. Because to a man, respect speaks louder than love. Men are wired to lead, to build, to provide, even in small ways. When they feel respected, they rise. When they're treated like they matter, they lean in. But when they feel belittled or unseen, they shrink back, not out of weakness, but from a deep sense of disappointment. A man may not even know how to express it, but he knows what it feels like when his partner doesn't believe in him. He knows what it's like when his effort isn't acknowledged, when his role isn't valued, when his presence is taken for granted. It's a slow erosion of connection that no amount of talking can fix, because what's missing isn't words. What's missing is honor. Respect isn't just about saying yes to everything he wants. It's about creating space for his voice. It's about listening to him when he opens up, even if he doesn't say much. It's recognizing his sacrifices, even when they're silent. It's trusting his intentions, even when you disagree with his decisions. You may not always understand what he's thinking, but when you show that you trust his heart, it invites him closer. He begins to feel that this is a place where he doesn't have to prove himself every day. This is a place where he's already enough. And what most women don't realize is that the moment a man feels genuinely respected, that's when his guard comes down. That's when he starts to share more, give more, and love more. Respect draws a man in. It doesn't just win his mind, it wins his heart. Not because you're praising him constantly, but because you're treating him like he matters, especially in the moments when the world makes him feel like he doesn't. A man may forget what you said, but he'll never forget how you made him feel about himself. And if you make him feel respected, not just admired, but truly respected, that's when love becomes something sacred to him. Something he will fight to protect, something he'll never want to lose. Men are often portrayed as creatures who chase excitement, who fall for the fireworks, the drama, the big romantic displays. But the truth is, while grand gestures may catch a man's attention, it is consistency that captures his heart. It's not the once in a while extravagant dinner or the surprise vacation that makes a man stay. It's how you show up for him every single day. It's the little things, done repeatedly with sincerity, that build a foundation strong enough to hold real love. A man may smile at the big moments, but he falls in love in the ordinary ones. When he wakes up to your good morning text, when you ask how his day went and genuinely listen, when you show interest in what he cares about, not because it's exciting to you, but because he matters to you. That steady rhythm of presence and care over time is what builds trust. And for a man, trust is everything. Consistency tells a man, I'm not just here when it's easy. I'm not just here when it's exciting. I'm here when it's quiet, when it's uncomfortable, when it's ordinary. That's what moves a man deeply. That's when he starts to see that you're not in love with the image of him, but with the reality of him. And that is what makes him begin to invest on a deeper level. When a woman is consistent in how she loves, how she supports, and how she communicates, a man doesn't have to keep guessing where he stands. That emotional stability becomes a safe place for him. And while the world outside may pull at him, question him, and challenge him, if he knows he has a consistent partner, someone who doesn't change up based on mood, convenience, or emotions, that's when his loyalty starts to anchor in something real. Many women make the mistake of thinking they need to impress a man to keep him, that the love needs to always feel fresh, passionate, new. But what a man craves isn't constant stimulation, it's reliable connection. It's being able to walk in the door and know what kind of energy will greet him. It's knowing that her character doesn't shift with every storm, that her words match her actions, that her heart doesn't disappear the moment life gets hard. Love that lasts isn't loud. It's consistent. It's waking up and choosing to love again, even when it's not glamorous, even when it's not easy, even when it costs something. And when a man sees that kind of love, steady, faithful, rooted, he doesn't just love you back. He begins to respect you, trust you, and build with you, because consistency doesn't just show that you care. It shows that you're committed. A man may not always say it out loud, but deep inside, he longs for someone who doesn't change based on circumstances. He longs for someone who will be there, not just at the beginning, but all the way through. And that is something grand gestures can never replace. For many men, love doesn't deepen simply through chemistry, attraction, or romantic passion. Those things might open the door, but what truly holds a man in a relationship is purpose. A man bonds where he feels like he's not just loved, but aligned, where his life, his vision, and his calling are understood and supported. Passion might ignite desire, but purpose fuels devotion. A man needs to feel like his life means something beyond the moment he's wired to pursue, to build, to strive toward goals, whether personal, professional, or spiritual. And the woman who truly captures his heart isn't just the one who stands beside him when things are good, but the one who sees the bigger picture with him, the one who doesn't just love his presence, but supports his process. She doesn't try to compete with his mission. She helps him carry it. This is why so many relationships start off with passion but slowly fade, because they were built only on emotional highs, not shared vision. If a man senses that the woman he's with doesn't understand or value the why behind his actions, a subtle disconnect begins to form. It's not always immediate, but over time the bond weakens. Because for him, love is not just about feelings, it's about forward motion. He wants a partner, not just a lover. He wants someone who is walking in the same direction, not pulling him in a different one. When a woman takes the time to ask about his dreams, to listen to his frustrations, and to encourage his growth, she becomes more than a companion. She becomes a teammate, and that is what makes a man truly attach. Not just emotionally, but mentally and spiritually. Because now he's not just falling in love with her smile or her voice. He's falling in love with the role she plays in his purpose. That kind of bond goes beyond romance. It creates partnership, legacy, impact. A man might be drawn to someone who makes him feel alive, but he bonds with someone who makes him feel anchored. He bonds with the woman who doesn't interrupt his purpose, but intertwines with it. And it doesn't mean she has to give up her own dreams. In fact, the best relationships are built when both purposes align, when each person fuels the other's growth. That's where real intimacy is born, when they're not just sharing a bed, but sharing a burden. Not just dreaming together, but building together. This is what most women overlook. They give passion, affection, and even loyalty, but they don't always tap into a man's purpose. They don't ask what drives him at his core. But the woman who does, she unlocks a deeper connection. Because when a man sees that you understand his path, believe in his purpose, and are willing to walk beside him, he doesn't just love you, he needs you. And that bond becomes unbreakable. Men may not always express their emotions openly, but they are constantly observing, especially in the quiet moments when you think no one is paying attention. A man watches how you carry yourself, how you treat strangers, how you act when you're not trying to impress anyone. He watches how you handle pressure, how you respond to the waitress who got your order wrong, how you talk about people who can't defend themselves. These are the moments when he begins to understand the truth of your character. When a man is falling in love, he isn't just watching how you treat him. He's watching how you treat others, because deep down he knows that how you speak to the people around you when there's nothing to gain reveals how you'll one day treat him when the spotlight fades. A woman can be sweet when she's the center of attention, but what does her heart look like when she's not? That's the question every wise man asks, whether he says it aloud or not. It's in the unnoticed moments that the most powerful impressions are made. He may be quiet, but he's picking up the signals. If you are kind, patient, and compassionate when there's no reward, he sees someone he can trust. He sees someone who has emotional depth and spiritual grounding. He sees a future partner who won't switch up when times get hard or when he fails to meet expectations. But if he sees you belittling others, quick to gossip, or easily angered by minor inconveniences, it makes him think twice, because a man understands that your kindness to him means little if it isn't consistent with how you live your life. If your grace is conditional, if your love is selective, he will question whether your care for him is genuine or just a performance. What makes this so powerful is that many women don't realize they're being watched this way. They focus so much on how they interact with the man they're dating, thinking that's the main stage. But love isn't built in the spotlight. It's built in the shadows. It's built in the way you live your values, even when there's no applause. A man is watching for signs of integrity. He wants to see if your kindness is authentic, not just strategic. He's watching to see if you treat people with dignity, especially those who can't do anything for you. Because in his heart, he knows that love without integrity doesn't last. You can be beautiful, intelligent, and exciting, but if your heart lacks honor, it will eventually show. And he's not just looking for someone to excite him. He's looking for someone to build with, someone he can trust to represent him, to raise children with, to walk through life beside him. So even when you think he's not paying attention, he is. He's not just watching your words, he's watching your ways. Because how you treat others is a mirror into how you will one day treat him. And that reflection speaks louder than anything else. Vulnerability is not weakness, it's a quiet strength that draws people in, especially men. While society often teaches men to be strong, stoic, and emotionally guarded, what many don't realize is that deep inside, a man craves a space where he can put the armor down. A space where he doesn't have to perform. A space where he can be seen not for what he does, but for who he is. And the woman who creates that space becomes unforgettable to him. It's not the woman who always has the perfect response, the flawless look, or the calculated charm that wins a man's heart. It's the one who can sit in silence with him, the one who doesn't rush to fix his pain but makes room for it, the one who says, "You don't have to be strong for me. I'll stand with you even in your weakness." That's the woman a man begins to trust with the deepest parts of himself, not because she demanded it, but because her presence gave him permission. A man may never say it outright, but he's always searching for a safe place to land. The world expects him to lead, to provide, to be tough. But behind every strong man is a quiet need to be understood, held, and heard without judgment. When a woman shows her own vulnerability, When she admits her fears, her doubts, her failures, something shifts in the relationship. The man realizes he doesn't have to be perfect to be loved. He doesn't have to pretend he can be real. And when he sees that kind of openness, it lowers his defenses. He starts to share more than just facts. He starts to share feelings, not because he's forced to, but because vulnerability attracts vulnerability. It builds trust in a way nothing else can. Suddenly, he's not just in a relationship, he's in a partnership. A connection, a bond that's rooted in truth, not performance. What most women don't realize is that trying to be strong all the time, trying to control every outcome, trying to avoid emotional risk, it doesn't protect the heart. It blocks connection. A man doesn't fall in love with your mask. He falls in love with your rawness, your humanity, your truth. And when you can share your fears without shame, he sees courage, not fragility. It's in those moments when you say, I don't have it all together, but I'm still here, still loving, still believing, that a man sees depth. He sees someone who is real, someone he can go through storms with, because life will not always be pretty. There will be loss, there will be failure, there will be pressure. And the man who knows that his partner can be vulnerable, yet faithful, fragile, yet present broken, yet full of love, that man won't just love you, he will fight to keep you. Vulnerability is not loud, it doesn't announce itself. But it pulls a man closer, not through drama, but through depth. Because in the stillness of that truth, he finds something he rarely finds anywhere else in peace. After everything we've uncovered about how men fall in love quietly through respect, through consistency, through purpose, observation, and vulnerability, one truth becomes clear: men don't fall for performance, they fall for presence. They fall for the woman who sees beyond herself, who understands the weight of a man's heart and handles it with care. It's not always in the fireworks. It's in the follow-through. It's not in the loud declarations, but the quiet loyalty. It's not just in beauty, but in belief. Belief in who he is, even when he's struggling to see it himself. Men fall in love where they feel safe, seen, and respected. They bond in places of trust, not just touch. And the woman who recognizes this, who chooses not just to love a man, but to understand him, that's the woman who doesn't just capture his attention, she captures his soul. So if you truly want to love him, see him, not the surface, not the strength, not the swagger. See the man. And if he's the right one, he won't just love you back, he'll never let you go.